Chelsea are coming for the big names this summer, and this is what you need to know. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you woke up on a transfer news morning and felt your heart actually race? Not the usual noise, not the usual clickbait about a player Chelsea might be watching, but real, serious, this could actually happen news that makes you sit up straight and say, wait, are we actually doing this? Because that is exactly where we are right now. Two names, two transfers, two very different kinds of players, but both of them pointing to the same thing. Chelsea are building something serious this summer, and they are not playing small. We are talking about Khvicha Kvaratskhelia, the Georgian magician who has been turning defenders inside out across Europe, and Jean-Paul Van Hecke, the Brighton centre-back who has quietly become one of the most watched defenders in the Premier League. These are not small moves. These are not backup signings. If Chelsea pull both of these off, we are looking at a squad transformation that could change everything about how next season looks. So let us get into it properly. No fluff, no filler. Just the facts, the analysis, and everything you need to understand what is happening and why it matters to us as Chelsea fans. First, let us talk about Khvicha Kvaratskhelia. If you have been following football even casually over the last 2 seasons, you already know who Kvaratskhelia is, and if you do not know him by name yet, you definitely know him by the moments, the dribbles that look impossible, the goals that make you rewind, the ability to pick up the ball on the left side and just cause chaos. He is 25 years old. He plays as a left winger. He spent time at Napoli before making the move to Paris Saint-Germain, and even in France, surrounded by massive names and a whole lot of pressure, he kept showing what he can do. And now, according to recent reports, Chelsea are preparing a very large bid to bring him to Stamford Bridge. We are not talking about a cheeky offer here. We are talking about a serious, committed push from Chelsea to get this deal done. Journalist David Ornstein, one of the most reliable voices in football transfer news, stated that he does not think Arsenal or any other club has a real opportunity here. The message was clear. Chelsea are the ones in pole position. Chelsea are the club making the big move. The reported price? 185 million euros. Yes, you read that right. 185 million euros. That is not a number clubs throw around lightly. That is Chelsea saying, we are serious, we have identified our target, and we are ready to spend what it takes to get him. What makes Kvaratskhelia so special? This is the question some of you might be asking, especially if you have not watched a lot of him in action. So let us break it down simply. Kvaratskhelia is the kind of winger who changes the way the whole game feels. When he has the ball on that left side, defenders do not know what to do. Do they get tight and risk the turn? Do they drop off and give him space to shoot? Do they double up and leave someone else free? Every option feels bad when you are defending against him. He is direct. He is quick. He has a low center of gravity that makes him incredibly hard to knock off the ball. And perhaps most importantly, he has the football brain to know when to go alone and when to play the right pass. At Napoli, he was one of the key reasons they won the Serie A title. He did not just play well, he dominated. He made Napoli unpredictable, exciting, and almost impossible to defend against for a full 90 minutes. Now think about what that kind of player would do in a Chelsea shirt. Think about the space he would create for the runners, the combinations he could have with the midfielders, the threat he would add on the left channel every single game. It is a genuinely exciting thought. There is also this interesting piece of information. David Webb, a former coach of Kvaratskhelia, came out and said something very interesting. He said that the player would come to the Premier League if the right approach was made. That is already significant on its own. But Webb went further. He said that Kvaratskhelia has always had a love for the Premier League and that he followed clubs like Liverpool, Arsenal, and Chelsea growing up. Let that sink in for a moment. This is not a player being pushed somewhere he does not want to go. This is a player who has had the Premier League in his heart for a long time. The question now is which club he picks, and right now all the signs are pointing toward Chelsea. When a player actually wants to come, when there is genuine desire from both sides, transfers tend to happen faster and smoother. That is a very good sign for us. So here is a question for you as a Chelsea fan. If this deal goes through, how excited would you be on a scale of 1 to 10? Because for a lot of people in this community, this is a straight 10. A world-class winger, age 25, coming to Stamford Bridge with a desire to be in England, that is a dream signing on paper. But let us not stop there, because the Kvaratskhelia story is only half of what we need to discuss today. Now let us talk about Jean-Paul Van Hecke. Van Hecke does not get the same kind of hype as Kvaratskhelia. He is a defender, and defenders rarely get the spotlight the way attackers do. But make no mistake, this is a very important signing if it goes through. Van Hecke is 25 years old. He plays as a centre-back. He has been at Brighton and has developed under one of the best coaching setups in the Premier League for young players. Fabian Hürzeler has built Brighton into a team that plays structured, smart football, and Van Hecke has been a big part of that defensive structure. The reported fee here is 35 million euros. Very different from the Kvaratskhelia price tag, but still a serious investment in a defender who Chelsea clearly believe in. According to reports, Van Hecke is prepared to leave Brighton this summer. He is ready for the next step. And Chelsea, who are looking to strengthen their defense this summer, are interested in bringing him in as a new first-choice partner for Levi Colwill. That last part is very important. A first-choice partner for Levi Colwill. Not a backup, not a squad option, a starting partner. That tells you exactly what Chelsea think of Van Hecke. Why does Van Hecke make sense for Chelsea? Let us think about this properly. Chelsea have Levi Colwill, who is one of the most promising young centre-backs in England. He is left-footed, comfortable on the ball, and strong in the air. But for Colwill to truly shine, he needs the right partner next to him. Someone who complements his strengths, covers his blind spots, and gives the back four a real sense of stability. Van Hecke fits that profile well. He is strong, he reads the game well, and he has the experience of playing in a Chelsea-like system at Brighton, where the team build from the back and defenders are expected to be comfortable with the ball at their feet. The data analytics experts at Sky Sports have looked at this potential pairing, and their assessment was very positive. They believe Van Hecke has the potential to become a key player for Chelsea if he joins the club this summer. That kind of data-backed confidence matters in modern football. And at 35 million euros, if Van Hecke develops into even close to what the data suggests, Chelsea will have gotten very good value. Think about it this way. Chelsea have had defensive instability for a long time. Different partnerships, players coming and going, defenders not quite fitting the system, a proper settled partnership at the back, two young players in their prime who grow together over several seasons could be transformative for the whole team. What does this all mean for Chelsea as a club? Here is the big picture view. If Chelsea sign both Kvaratskhelia and Van Hecke this summer, they will have addressed two of the most important areas of the squad, attack and defense. A world-class winger on the left who can unlock any defense in Europe, and a top-quality center-back who can form a stable long-term partnership with Colwill. That is not just squad building, that is squad transformation. Chelsea have been on a journey over the past few seasons that has felt like a lot of movement without always a clear direction. There have been players coming in, players going out, managers changing, systems shifting. But this summer feels different. These two targets feel like they come from a real clear vision of what Chelsea want to become. They want to be dangerous going forward with quality in every position. They want to be solid at the back with a proper defensive unit. They want players who are young enough to grow but experienced enough to deliver right now. Kvaratskhelia at 25, Van Hecke at 25, both in the prime years where they can give Chelsea 5, 6, 7 good seasons if things go well. That is the Chelsea model. Young, hungry, talented players who want to grow with the club. And this summer, they seem to be targeting exactly that kind of player. But let us be honest about the challenges, because we would not be doing proper analysis if we did not talk about the difficulties here. 185 million euros for Kvaratskhelia is an enormous amount of money. Even for a club like Chelsea, even in today's transfer market where fees have gone crazy, that is still a huge commitment. Chelsea will need to be very sure that this is the right move and that the player will deliver consistently at that level. There are also questions about how Kvaratskhelia adapts to the Premier League. He has been excellent in Serie A and League One, but the Premier League is a different kind of challenge. The pace is different, the physicality is different. Players have come from other top leagues and struggled to hit the same heights straight away. Now, it is worth saying that Kvaratskhelia has shown enough to suggest he can handle it. His technical quality is so high that most analysts believe he will adjust. And the fact that he has always followed the Premier League and clubs like Chelsea suggests he has mentally prepared himself for this kind of environment. But nothing is guaranteed. And as fans, we should go into this with excitement, but also clear eyes. With Van Hecke, the question is slightly different. At 35 million euros, there is less financial risk. But the question becomes, is he truly ready to be a first-choice centre-back for a club with Chelsea's ambitions? Brighton are a good team, but they are not competing for titles. The pressure at Chelsea is different. Again, the Sky Sports data suggests, yes, he can handle it. And his profile fits what Chelsea need. But it is fair to ask the question, what should we as Chelsea fans think about this? This is the part where I want to hear from you in the comments. Do you want Chelsea to go all in for Kvaratskhelia at 185 million euros? Is that a price you think is worth paying for a player of his quality and age? Or do you think there are other priorities Chelsea should be focusing on this summer? And what about Van Hecke? Are you confident that he can be the partner Levi Colwill needs? Or would you prefer Chelsea to look at other options at centre-back? These are real questions that matter, because how Chelsea spend this summer will shape the next 2 or 3 seasons at minimum. Getting these decisions right could put Chelsea right back in the conversation for the biggest prizes. Getting them wrong could mean another frustrating campaign of almost but not quite. My own honest view? Kvaratskhelia is exactly the kind of player Chelsea have been missing, a genuine match winner on the left who can take the ball and make something happen when everything else is stuck. Chelsea have had moments of real quality this season, but there have also been too many games where the attack felt predictable. A player of Kvaratskelia's level changes that completely. And Van Hecke makes complete sense as a long-term investment. At 35 million euros for a player who is 25 and already proven in the Premier League, that is not a gamble. That is smart business. The bigger picture. For Chelsea. This summer, let us zoom out a little bit and think about what all of this says about where Chelsea are as a club. The fact that Chelsea are in serious discussions for a player like Kvaratskhelia tells you something important. It tells you that the top players in European football see Chelsea as a destination. When David Webb says Kvaratskhelia has always followed Chelsea and would come to the Premier League, that is the club's reputation doing its work. London is one of the greatest cities in the world. The Premier League is the most watched football competition on the planet. And Chelsea, even through the choppy waters of the last few seasons, remain one of the biggest clubs in the game. Players want to come here. That is a real advantage that Chelsea must use properly. The Van Hecke situation also tells you something. Chelsea are not just chasing glamour signings. They are thinking about the structure of the squad, the balance, the basics. A good center-back partnership is not the most exciting news in the world, but it is the foundation everything else is built on. You can have all the Kvaratskhelia in the world, but if you are leaking goals from the back, you will not win anything. Chelsea are trying to build a proper team, not just a collection of expensive individuals, a team. And that is very exciting. A few things to watch in the coming days and weeks. Here's what to keep your eyes on as this story develops. First, watch what PSG say publicly about the Kvaratskhelia situation. If they start talking about him as a key part of their future plans, that might mean the deal is harder than it looks. If they go quiet, that might be a sign that negotiations are moving. Second, watch for any reports about Kvaratskelia's personal preferences. We already know from David Webb that the player is interested in the Premier League, but the specific club choice is still not completely confirmed. If other clubs make serious moves, Chelsea will need to react quickly. Third, for Van Hecke, watch Brighton's stance. Brighton have lost key players before and always seem to handle it professionally. If they accept a fee in the region of 35 million euros, this one could move quite quickly given that the player himself seems ready to leave. And finally, watch Chelsea's overall business. Are they selling anyone? Are they clearing wages and space to make room for these new arrivals? The structure of Chelsea's squad and their financial situation will affect how they are able to operate in the market. The summer window is still ahead of us. There is time for things to change, but right now the direction of travel is clear and it is exciting. Final thoughts. We started this piece with a question about when was the last time you felt your heart race over Chelsea transfer news. Well, this might be that moment. Kvaratskhelia coming to Chelsea would be one of the biggest signings this club has made in years, not just in terms of money, but in terms of the message it sends. It says Chelsea are back. It says we are serious. It says we are ready to compete with anyone in Europe. And Van Hecke, quietly and without the headlines, could turn out to be just as important. Building a solid backline is often what separates the clubs that win things from the clubs that come close. Both of these signings, if they happen, point to a Chelsea that knows what it wants to be and is spending to make that happen. Is everything going to work out perfectly? We can never know that. Football does not work that way, but the intent is right, the targets are right, the ambition is right, and for now, as a Chelsea fan, that is enough to feel good about. So let us keep watching, let us keep talking, let us keep doing what we do in this community, which is look at every angle, break down every piece of information, and stay as informed as possible about the club we love. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you want both of these signings? Do you have concerns? Is there another player you would rather Chelsea prioritize this summer? The conversation is just getting started, and if Chelsea actually land Kvaratskhelia and Van Hecke this summer, we will have a lot more to talk about. See you in the next one. Come on, Chelsea.